transcript of. You would need to have all three approvals. I'll be candid. I am concerned about the manner in which the state process, perhaps. I am no fond friend of the state, as is known. But the fact is, the RFP and the notice, public and otherwise, says what it says. However, there may be a cure if you're interested, but technically, that is where you're at. Again, please, when you write the emails about me and you put others' names on them, or you go on the scoop and write it, make clear you get every word I said so that you don't misquote me and say other things that people are known to say. These are the facts. Anything I've mentioned, the email from Denise Dijak we have, the minutes we have, the RFP we have, and the transcript of when we met with the vendors we had. So, in a strict sense, the RFP and the actions of the board say that you need to have all three licenses. But, and again, at the time, it says, and again, I can get that paragraph. It says, does Mr. Finger, if you would?
It said in the RFP, in the proposal itself, you had to have all three on or before the opening date of the request for proposals, which was July 8th. That's what we specified.
I second the motion of Mr. Silver as amended.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Motion, just to make it clear again, Chapter 192 to be awarded as follows: Catapult Tree of Knowledge and Education Excellence. Chapter 193 to be awarded as follows: Supplemental Speech, the Tree of Knowledge, Catapult and Education Excellence, and E and C to Catapult and Psych Ed Services. Am I correct?
No. The motion, the way you stated it, I believe is illegal, as Michael just explained. We have to reject the RFPs because ESL was not licensed at the time of the RFP date. So you have to reject the RFPs and then approve these vendors without the RFP. That was the motion.
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
The first vote would be, if you are inclined, would be to reject the RFPs. That would be your first motion. Because the way the RFPs, coupled with the public action taken here in public, requires all three for 192. After you do that, then you can further explore Mr. Silver's motion.
So moved.
Was that your motion?
Mr. Silver had a different motion. We have a motion to dismiss, to reject the RFP, and then move on to Mr. Silver's motion. So let's just, I make a motion to reject the RFP.
I second.
Any discussion?
No.
And Mr. Finger, can you make the roll call?
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Brunhart?
Yes.
Ms. Vecchio?
Yes.
Mr. Seidler?
Yeah.
Mr. Silver?
Yes.
Tom? Mrs. Locken?
Yes.
Motion passes.
If I may,
Now I'd like to reissue my previous motion.
would you like a legal opinion on that or no? No?
Yes, yes.
No? I heard Mr. Seidler say no.
Mr. He didn't have permission to speak. Sorry.
Unfortunately, you must know all the facts, so you have it. There is a letter which was written. I can only bring 3 boxes a meeting, but it's good. There is a letter written by the former Commissioner of Education to one Rabbi Levovitz. At least it says that name there. And that letter clearly says that RFPs, I could find it in a second, I need a second. That letter says, if I could, yes, that letter is written December 6, 2007. It is 2 pages. In part, that letter says, if I may, A review of the Lakewood School District's grant, IDA grant reveals the district has consistently spent the required proportional share. I need 1 second. Oh, in response to your concern about the Catapult contract, please note that districts are not required under 18A:18A5 to bid for this contract. Now, if that position is right or wrong, that was then Lucille E. Davies' letter of December 607. So then you need to go to the new manual, which I've stated publicly that I take exception to in part. But the new manual, which has a new section, new in the sense of the magnitude of what's written there, under contracting with third-party providers, I do need a second, Mr. Chairman.
Someone seconded?
Your humor is much appreciated.
Go.
It does say here that the districts can contract with NJDOE approved clinics or agencies to provide all or part of the required services. Oh, I found it. Italicized in paragraph 5. Professional service contracts are issued in a deliberative and efficient manner that ensures the district receives the highest quality of services at a fair, competitive price, or through a shared service agreement. This may include, but is not limited to, the issuance of such contracts through a request for proposals based on cost and other specified factors or other comparable processes. So the new guidelines, which are new and have not been challenged or tested as far as I know at this time, does speak about an RFP, but it says this may include but is not limited to. Again, the word may is permissive, just like the word regarding 193 is. I do want to say this though, so later you cannot say you were not advised, which you still might say. There is a possibility that vendors who said to themselves, not any of the vendors who obviously submitted, but other vendors may have said, well, if they knew you didn't have to be DOE approved by a certain date, well then maybe they would have submitted a proposal. So there is a potential exposure of liability. Apparently people in the audience have legal opinions, but they're not lawyers. But the fact is, that is true. The fact is that you do have the right, it is my legal opinion, you do have the right to reject the RFPs, you do have the right, again, as long as they're licensed by NJDOE. I am suggesting, though, that there is potential exposure to this. There is potential exposure. I would say, like I said last time, I would like to see clarification from NJDOE, but as even those who are in the audience who can't get clarification from NJDOE that easily. But the permissive word is both as to 193 services being for all for one vendor or not. That says may, and so it also says may regarding 192 that you could use an RFP. Again, there is potential exposure, but we must remember the board is dedicated to having multi-vendors, which will stimulate competition, which is one of the goals in the manual.
So the exposure is only someone who became approved within 6 days?
As they said at St. John's Law School, you're either pregnant or not almost pregnant.
No, so we
The
stick
fact is it could be 6 days or 6 minutes. I did confirm, and that is something I did discuss with 2 board members. I wanted to confirm, since apparently others may have not gone to this extent, but I did confirm myself this morning, live on the phone with Ms. Dijak around 8:31. It was her birthday today. And she did put it in email that the vendor you are talking about is approved at this time. That is what she told me, and I said, no disrespect, you must put it in writing, and she did.
It's done, so the amendment is basically it must be approved by today in order for us to approve any catapult be acknowledged in education.
Is that a question? I'm sorry.
In Europe, you say open litigation. If someone says, I got approved tomorrow, is that going to help?
Well,
Or if you have to be approved, our amendment can say you got to be approved by today, July 14th.
well, I would assume that if you're awarding something today, you need to be asking today. If you're approving at 9:10 p.m., well, then they have to be approved by 9:10 p.m. I do want to say you've rejected the RFPs, there is potential exposure, but the language, which I don't think is by accident of the new manual, does say one of the ways is through an RFP, coupled with Lucille Davies' previous letter, even though she's no longer commissioner. I have not seen a letter saying differently, so you would be within your rights. But I do have Mr. Rubin here tonight. Mr. Rubin is an attorney who represents a multitude of districts. He is in the audience. We did discuss this earlier today, anticipating this may occur.